feeling more like 33, and the wind, it could bump up to around 30 miles per hour as this game goes on. And I mentioned it could be tough for someone down on the field, and what a brave soul we have down there in our very own Elise Miniker.
Looking good, though.
Oh, thank you, guys. You know, I describe this weather as a mess. These teams describe it as football weather. They love it. Head coach Pat Fitzgerald told us they've been practicing outside all week. Wednesday it was 31 and rainy. He said it was perfect. Our players were like 8th graders out there. To stay dry today, that's the key. They're going to be using these cleat cleaners. So you can imagine dirt, mud, grass is going to be accumulating on those cleats. They're going to use these to take it off. As for Minnesota, they've been practicing with wet footballs all week, dipping them deliberately in water to prepare for these conditions. That's what head coach PJ Fleck told me before the game. He also told me some injury updates. Shannon Brooks, the running back, did not travel. Wide receiver Tyler Johnson did travel. He has a hand injury. He will not play. And left guard Garrison Wright has a hand injury. He will play, but should he go out? Well, Fleck said, I'm going in. And let's hope that doesn't happen for everyone's case.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, Minnesota, the injuries continue to pile up. And now let's look at the Ace Hardware keys to the game.
Well, you know, for Minnesota, they'd have to pressure Thorson. He's a good passer. You don't put pressure on him, 60% completion. Got to put pressure on that passer. And for Northwestern, you got to contain Croft, the running quarterback, on the read play, and really where he's dangerous, goes back to pass. He doesn't hesitate to pull the ball down and scramble.
Well, despite the weather, I would say that Northwestern is really amped up and ready to go over on that sideline. Pat Fitzgerald, he looks a little more bundled up.
He looks like he's going snowmobile.
And it will be Minnesota kicking to the homestanding Wildcats. And the wind already playing a factor as it blows the pigskin right off the tee before we get started here in Evanston.
Yeah, you know, I always thought, when we talked about the cold or the rain, the thing I worried more about when I was coaching was the wind and the effect that it could have in the kicking game.
Could have a huge effect, especially with any field goal attempts. As sending it away, Ryan Santoso, Riley Lease with the wind at the back of Santoso. Lease is backed up 6 yards deep and goes down to a knee. And a lot of eyes on senior day on the star senior in the backfield, Justin Jackson for Northwestern, the running back who is just 27 yards away from 5,000.
Yeah, you know, he's an outstanding running back, and, you know, a lot of games he hasn't piled up the yards. I talked to Mick McCall about that. He says, you know, people are coming in and saying, we have got to stop Jackson. They're cheating against the run. They're loading the box, and that's why they throw the ball so effectively.
And Purdue did stop him very effectively last week. 25 rushes, just 46 yards. But the first play for Northwestern is through the air, and it's incomplete in the direction of a diving Flint Nagel.
Yeah, and that ball wasn't even close there. And again, you talk about this weather, what happens, and that was an earned pass.
Justin Jackson, the 27 yards from 5,000. Look at all the school records. He has rewritten the record books here in Evanston. On 2nd and 10, they will give it to him. And a good-sized hole out across the 30, and backing his way to about the 32-yard line for a gain of 7.
Yeah, this is a stapler of their run. They take the shotgun snap, they fake the 3-step drop, and then they hand the ball to Jackson. Draw play, worked effectively. We might mention right now, you know, it's 3rd in that medium range right there. They've gone for it on 4th down 31 times this game. We got to keep an eye on that this game.
Yeah, they went for it 7 times last week against Purdue on 4th down that did the Northwestern Wildcats. They need 3 yards here with pressure coming. Thorson is dragged down by Carter Coughlin. He leads the team with 6.5 sacks this season. And that makes it 4th down, and Northwestern will punt after a loss of 9.
Well, you'll see Carter Coughlin come here from his defensive end position at Eden Prairie High School in Minnesota. Came as a linebacker. He's an undersized defensive end, but he has really been coming on the last couple of weeks.
So he continues his pursuit to be the sack leader this year for Minnesota, and that was a big one. It's going to get Northwestern off the field with a 3 and out. A little bit of a high snap and the low punt. You said it, Coach. Kicking game will be something to watch. A low boot, though it does take a good bounce for Northwestern off the right foot of Hunter Nicewander. 46-yard punt. And if you're looking for the Rutgers-Indiana game, folks, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find that game in your area. So Dimry Croft, coming off that great game against Nebraska, he set the Minnesota all-time single-game record, 183 rushing yards.
Well, with a 45% completion rate, he better be a good runner, and he is an outstanding runner.
Co-Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week after that performance in the victory where they put up 54 points last week, and they're going right to the air and completing it. How about that? Rashad Still, only his second reception of the season, and it goes for 36 yards.
Yeah, we talked about Tyler Johnson being out, who would pick up the slack for him. And, you know, Still's one of those guys that Coach Fleck was really high on last spring, and he really has disappeared this year up until that play.
He was the leading receiver coming into the year with 18 catches, because they lost Drew Wolodarski, who had 66 catches last year. So you're right, they thought they'd get more out of him, and they did, at least on that play. Over the middle, they're throwing again, and it's complete to Rodney Smith.
Yeah, go figure. You talk about, you know, the weather and, you know, what Minnesota likes to do. They come right out, 2 passes, moving the football, 2 completions. They got to be happy.
You mentioned that low completion rate for Dimry Croft, so good for him to pick up some confidence.
With Emmett Carpenter, their outstanding place kicker, they're already in field goal range.
Great right leg of Carpenter, Big Ten Kicker of the Year a season ago. And Minnesota playing for a lot. They need to win one of the last 2 to become bowl eligible. Now they could win a bowl or get into a bowl with just 5 wins if things go their way in the APR area. Handoff to Rodney Smith. And he'll get it to the 30-yard line. It's a loss of 2.
Well, the impact players, you know, on offense, you look at Kobe McCrary, Shannon Brooks is out. He's a big running back, pounding in. And Rodney Smith, best running back, might be the best football player in the team. And for Northwestern, the middle linebacker, Patty Fisher, leading tackler.
Impact players brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Yeah, watch out for Patty Fisher, no doubt. Leading all freshmen in the nation with 95 tackles. That one drops. Croft picks it up, and then he goes right back down thanks to Nate Hall. We mentioned Patty Fisher. Nate Hall is also a very good linebacker. His 2nd sack of the season.
Yeah, this is all on Croft. You can see it. He drops the snap, and then there's no place to go. You got to take off and run with it. You're running out of time. And the bad thing about it, you were in pretty good range for a field goal attempt, and big loss there for Minnesota.
7 yards in the wrong direction. Minnesota does not have any players on the field right now, so assuming that P.J. Fleck is going to take a timeout. Northwestern has all 11 out there ready to go, and
well, he may take a delay of game to give him more space to punt the ball.
That's a good call, because with this weather, even with Emmett Carpenter and his strong leg, may be out of range.
Delay game. Offense. That penalty decline. Remains 4th down.
And you're exactly right, Coach. As Don Willard tells us, delay of game, so they will back it up and punt it away. Of course, Northwestern can decline that if they want.
Which they did.
Once again,
2 series, 2 sacks, 1 by each team.
And punt formation, Ryan Santoso.
So Ryan Santoso will punt it away. And that could turn out to be a beauty. And it does turn out to be a beauty. Julian Huff tracking it down inside the 5, and Santoso has fired up a 35-yard punt that will pin Northwestern deep on a rainy day by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud. And brought to you by Discover Card, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Prior to the game's Senior Day festivities for the Northwestern Wildcats, and a couple of good ones in that group. But as Pat Fitzgerald was telling us yesterday, Coach, yeah, they are losing a couple key pieces on both sides, but he's also keeping a lot back for next year.
Yeah, some key pieces, but it's a young football team.
It is a young football team, but one guy that they will miss is the guy that had the football right there, Justin Jackson, getting a little breathing room after a gain of 4 that he's dropped by Thomas Barber.
Outstanding running back, and one of the things that I've been amazed at over the years watching him play is how durable he is. You know, there's not a tougher position in football to play than running back, because the hardest thing is when you get tackled and everybody keys on him, and he just keeps pounding it in there.
And he's a smart kid. He's an econ major and a French minor. He's fluent in French, just for good measure. And they go back to number 21, right up the gut. It's stopped about 1.5 yards shy of the first down marker, and it'll bring up 3rd. Auto Owners Insurance impact players on this side of the ball.
Well, you have to start with Justin Jackson. Not only is he a great runner, but a great receiver. And then Garrett Dickerson, you know, the reason why they call him Superback, and Carter Coughlin, we already saw him make a sack. Guy is really coming on.
Thorson, by the way, now 12 yards away from 5,000. Thorson under center. They give it to number 21. He's got the first down.
Justin Jackson, left ball carrier.
You know, there's two things in offensive football. There's consistency in big plays. You look at Northwestern, they're very consistent. They don't have very many big plays, only 11 plays of 30 yards or more on the season. I asked Mick McCall about that, and he says, you know what? You're right, but we're not far off. You know, you see it. We're about ready to break some big runs.
They could not get any big runs going last week against Purdue. Jackson, and there he is with a huge run. He has just become the 6th Big Ten back ever to cross the 5,000-yard mark. What a career. He does it with a 41-yard gain.
Yeah, just as I said, not many big plays. And what Mick McCall said, look at that hole. Let me tell you, you don't want to give any back that running room, let alone Justin Jackson.
You just said it. Mick McCall said we feel like we're going to break some of these runs. That was one of those runs. And take a bow, Justin Jackson, as he heads to the sideline. And Thorson goes to the air, in and out of the hands of Macon Wilson. But you got to credit Antonio Chenault there on the coverage.
Yeah, Chenault played that well. You can see they went to a 3-step drop right out of the shotgun. He looked right, he came back left, and Chenault knew what was going, and he broke on the ball. He didn't wait for the ball to be thrown.
And that is the club that he is now a part of. How about that? That's some pretty darn good company.
Man, you think so? Look at that. I mean, what a great accomplishment, not only for Justin, but for Northwestern.
And as we were saying, just a tremendous, well-rounded young man. This time they toss it to Jeremy Larkin, who they think has a bright future, redshirt freshman, to take over for that man, Justin Jackson, but just not a lot of room. A loss of 1. Back out comes Justin Jackson with a 5,033 career rushing yards.
Yeah, well, he will be missed, I promise you.
Big shoes to fill for Jeremy Larkin, who has been coming on strong as of late, though. They have high hopes for that redshirt freshman in the coming seasons. Thorson taking off, and he's got a lot of room. Nobody was home. First down, and then stepping out of bounds, and Thorson gets spun around. Pushed out by Jacob Huff after a gain of 15.
Well, I talked about Minnesota. They know they have to put pressure on Thorson. As he goes out of bounds, he's a little shove, and then he a little shove on the sideline, and maybe he got his feet caught on somebody on the sideline. Come on, you got to move out of the way on the sideline there, fellas.
Yeah, he tripped and then went slipping and sliding. 67 yards this drive for Northwestern. All of them have been on the ground. Remember, this drive started inside the 5, dancing around. That was some nifty footwork by Jackson.
Yeah, he made something out of nothing there, because you saw the cut he had to make. He planted his left foot, went back right. As in all good backs, they can make that cut like that and gain ground at the same time.
So last week, 25 carries, 46 yards against Purdue. Well, no, says Justin Jackson. I don't want to repeat performance of that, although there he's going in the wrong direction as he's dropped in the backfield. Elise, what's an update on the deteriorating conditions down on the field?
Brandon, I heard an official say to the ball carrier, stay close to me. We're going to rotate footballs on every play, and that's exactly what they've been doing. The ball carriers, they have 3 footballs in kind of a messenger bag to keep them dry on any given day. They'll use about 18 footballs, but today they tell me they're going to be using all 26.
Yeah, and they might need 36 or 46 or 56 by the time this one's over. Loss of 2 on that last carry. 3rd down at 7. Thorson keeps, and he's dragged down. Nice job in the backfield by Blake Cashman, the DN. He wasn't fooled.
Yeah, Blake Cashman, he's had quite a career at Minnesota. Came out of Eden Prairie High School there, west side of Minneapolis, and he came as a walk-on. He's a linebacker, and now he's a linebacker and a defensive end. The guy makes plays.
They're dragging Thorson down, so it's either 4th and 9 or a 47-yard field goal, and the element's an into the wind, and they're going to go for it. 31 times they've gone for it on 4th down. This is number 32 over the middle to Jackson. He's got some work to do, and he won't get there. Defensively, Minnesota rallies. Cashman and company in on the stop, and P.J. Fleck is fired up. His Gophers are taken over on a scoreless, rainy Saturday in Chicago.
Timeout.
Watching this football game, cold front coming through, and the rain doesn't appear like it's going to be letting up anytime soon. Both coaches, little contrast in styles and how they're dressed.
It's kind of like you and me. You got the parka, the gloves, and everything, and I got my T-shirt on up here.
That's not true. That's a bold-faced lie. And we both have space heaters going up here in the booth, by the way. They're taking good care of us. Rodney Smith will get the football. So they do carry it there, but it's interesting. Minnesota 43 passing yards, Northwestern 5, and Minnesota negative in the rushing yards, Northwestern 67. It's kind of the opposite of what we expected.
Absolutely. That's why you play the game. You know, and the thing about it is, you know, Minnesota had to anticipate that Mike Hankwitz, defensive coordinator at Northwestern, facing a one-dimensional offense is a stack up against the run, so they threw it.
On that last carry, Rodney Smith went over 800 yards rushing on the season. He's going to pad that number right here. Bouncing it to the outside. Across the 50 goes Rodney Smith before he's shoved out. 22-yard pickup for number 1.
Yeah, how many times have you seen him do this? Look at this. They lose contain. They get outside. Another man gets outside. The wide receiver comes in, gets a key block. Big play for Rodney Smith and the Gophers.
It's Philip Howard with a block out wide. And remember, as Coach told you earlier, no Tyler Johnson for Minnesota. So Williams, Still, those guys expected to step up in the absence of Johnson, their top receiver. Back to the air for Croft, and that's through the hands of the aforementioned Rashad Still. We were discussing about his absence this year and only 2 catches. They said this is one of the reasons he's had trouble catching it.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about the key to the game. We talked to the Minnesota offensive coaches, and they said, you know what, we have to be efficient in the passing game. Translation, don't miss the wide open receiver, and for the receiver, don't drop the catchable ball. There's a case of that right there.
2nd down and 10 after the Still drop. Still now at the bottom of your screen. They'll hand it, though. Rodney Smith only able to get 1 yard to the 46. Dropped by Marcus McShepard.
I know that Mike Hankwitz, defensive coordinator for Northwestern, talking to him. The big concern in these situations, first and foremost, is Demery Croft, the cornerback, pulling the ball down and scrambling. He's emphasizing to his defensive line, contain first, sack second.
That's exactly right. He was saying it's not just the design runs, it's those scrambles. You're just mentioning, especially on these 3rd down situations. So 3rd and 9. And Croft with a pocket collapsing. He's got nowhere to go. And the only place he's going is down to the grass. Nate Hall once again. 2nd time he's got to the quarterback, loss of 5.
Well, I can see the plan. Watch the line stunts on the inside. And the reason why Hankwitz is dialing that up, when you do that, that cancels gaps. And then he brings someone from the inside around outside, and there's no place for Croft to pull it down and run.
Both of the sacks by Nate Hall against Croft have come on 3rd down and forced punts. Ryan Santoso only had one punt all of last week against Nebraska when Minnesota put up 54 points, but it's a different story here so far today. 51-yard punt, but it nets only 31. 3:04 left first quarter. Managed all this weather pretty good, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty well. They, a couple of missed throws, a missed catch, but this weather is miserable. And, as you look at this first quarter, as we're under 3 minutes now, let's not forget the wind is significant. One of the reasons why Minnesota was throwing the football, and Northwestern was running it. It's going to switch here pretty quick.
We've seen 3 plays of over 20 yards. Would you rather, if you're a quarterback, be throwing into the wind or with the wind at your back?
I'd rather run the ball.
Flag comes in. That's a rifled over the middle. Thorson finding Flynn Nagel for the diving catch, but we'll have to see what the laundry's about.
Normally that's defensive offsides.
Don Willard. Let's see if this stands.
Offside. Defense, number 45. That penalty's declined. Result of play. First down.
Right you are, Mr. Mason. The 11-yard gain stands. PJ Fleck, he'll turn 37 on November 29th. Got to say goodbye to 36.
Minnesota playing a lot of nickel defense, an extra defensive back in.
And a carry for Jeremy Larkin. A look at the future of the Northwestern backfield. Jacob Huff finally drags down the freshman, but not after a pickup of 15.
And may I say that was a huge hole? And the right guard just buried the nose guard inside. And a little surprising because Minnesota normally more stout against the inside run.
Not that time, and Larkin is coming off his best game. Or 2 weeks ago, I should say. He had 10 rushes, 69 yards, and a touchdown against Nebraska. But he's gotten a consistent workload backing up Jackson. This time out of the backfield, it's Larkin with a reception going down the sideline before he's knocked down by Barber.
What I noticed on that last inside run is that number 96, Steven Richardson, the nose guard for Minnesota, who's really a good one. They call him the stove because they can't move him, and he's from Mount Carmel High School here in Chicago. An outstanding player, was not in there.
Pat Fitzgerald said, you know what the storyline is no one's going to talk about is Steven Richardson and then Tyler Lancaster, 2 really good guys on the inside defensively. But I guess that's not as sexy as some of the other matchups that we're seeing here, and with Jackson going over 5,000. But right now it's Larkin that's getting the carries.
Yeah, when Steven Richardson was coming out of Mount Carmel High School, outstanding high school football, outstanding young man. The rap on him, not very big. He was big. He wasn't tall, 6 foot tall, maybe. And I think a lot of people said, not big enough to play Big Ten football. Man, were they wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong indeed. Steven Richardson, Pro Football Focus has him as the 2nd-ranked interior lineman in college football. Flag coming in as Jackson slithers his way down to the 36-yard line.
Looked like the interior line jumped for Minnesota.
Don Willard was about to make the announcement. Double checking he's got all his information correct.
Offside. Defense, number 87. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
So that's on Nate Umler, young freshman for PJ Fleck. Just the 37th penalty. It's the fewest in the Big Ten.
Oh, yeah, they jumped a little bit. You tell all those defensive linemen, you move on movement. Don't listen to the quarterback.
First charge, timeout of the half.
Timeout taken, Minnesota. 45 seconds left in the opening quarter. Wisconsin 7-0, 0-0 right now in their battle against Michigan.
Yeah, be a heck of a game up there. I don't think it's very wet, it's probably cold. And, depending what happens on this play, would not be surprised if Coach Fleck doesn't go timeout to keep Northwestern going into the win before the end of the quarter.
So you think that's why he took the timeout right there with 45 seconds left? 2nd and 4 is the situation for Northwestern with Jackson to the backfield, and they will give it to Jackson. First down. And a little extra down inside the 25.
Minnesota's got to solve this inside run. You know, and again, you got to credit the offensive line. I mean, he's getting past the first line of defense and making that cut, getting by the linebacker. And they're fortunate that he just picked up the first down and didn't take it the distance there.
78 yards on the ground already for Justin Jackson. I'm sure that Pat Fitzgerald approves. Bouncing away, Jackson trying to make something out of nothing, but he cannot. Duke McGee dropping him for a loss.
Well, Rob Smith said enough of that. He angled the front. And he brought Jonathan Celestine off from the outside linebacker position and unblocked off the inside receiver. Almost made the play in the backfield.
And that will wind us down to the end of the first quarter.
This is the end.
No score.
First quarter.
We thought this might be the case. This type of weather, defenses right now trying to stay in control. It's all even where it matters.
How about 21 plays for Northwestern, only 9 for Minnesota? But you mentioned the most important stat, 0-0.
Was it a good day to sail out there on Lake Michigan and that view that we just saw?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to find out.
Good day to be warmed by the fire, that's for sure. Second quarter begins with a 2nd and 12. Northwestern trying to change the score from 0-0. Nice cutback by Jackson. Started to go left, went right up the middle, and was able to pick up 7.
Yeah, he was stopped dead in his tracks. There's no place to go. He kept his feet moving, and all of a sudden, the great vision that he has, he saw a little break there to the right, and there he went. He turned a potentially negative play, and Thomas Barber, the outstanding young linebacker from Minnesota, made the play.
That puts Northwestern collectively over 100 yards rushing on the game. They're now at 103. Northwestern has been good in the red zone this season. Jackson breaking a tackle. A lot of his yards come after contact. You see another example right there.
Wow, I don't know how he got through there. Watch him right here, just a zone play, and he's hitting. Man, you know, when Jacob Huff, the safety, has to come up and went low there, you better be careful. I watch him go over the next time, and no surprise here, we're calling for it on 4th down.
This is the Pat Fitzgerald philosophy. They rely on analytics, they rely on numbers, and when they say go for it, they go for it. 4th and 1.
Unbalanced formation with motion.
Lee's in motion, hand off to Jackson, and the decision pays off. 1st down, Northwestern.
You know, when I was talking to Pat Fitzgerald about 31 times going for the 4th down, I said, that's like a wishbone team. If you remember, he laughed. He said, yeah, we played Army one time, and he said, you know, they won for it a ton on 4th down. I punted 3 times on 3rd, and when we ended up losing a close game, he said, I started thinking about that over the years, but I finally decided we're going to figure out when to go for it on 4th down. Analytics, how's that?
And they've been very successful at it this season. Jeremy Larkin subbing in for Jackson. You know, we talk a lot about Justin Jackson. It's great to have a freshman like Larkin to come in there to spell him as a change-up back.
But you got it. You know, the thing about it, if you hang your hat on just one running back, you're foolish. I used to say all the time, and now P.J. Fleck talks about it all the time, you need a pair and a spare. Look at Minnesota with all the great running backs they have, and Brandon and Brooks. Shannon Brooks isn't on the trip. They need a couple guys.
And Larkin is able to provide that relief. He stays in the game here. Flynn Nagel motioning to the top of your screen and then back. But it's Larkin finding the hole and finding the end zone for the first score of the game. Jeremy Larkin, touchdown Northwestern. Good hold there on the left side.
I'd say that was an impressive drive by Northwestern. All they needed was the win. You know, the thing about it, they've, as much success they've had, they've only scored 13 first quarter points in Big Ten play. It's amazing.
But they get the first score, and it comes in the second quarter here as Charlie Kubander will try to make it 7-0. And he does just that. Northwestern goes 80 yards on 12 plays. You said it was an impressive drive. It was, and it was capped by that run from Jeremy Larkin. 7-0. Coleman for the sideline. He's all covered up. 7-zip in favor of Northwestern.
The wind is the big factor, I think, in this game.
There we see again, second time we've had a ball blow off the tee. Keep the towels handy. Temperatures dropping as the game continues to go. We've even up here in the booth occasionally seen an occasional snow flurry mix in with the raindrops. But it's tough for Luke Otto just to get that football to stay there. Yeah, he's going to enlist some support. They're going to have to hold it. Godwin Igwebuike will be the assister. Finally able to boot it away in the direction of Rodney Smith. Smith drops it, but he will get on it quickly. Kobe McCrary is coming up to say just go down to a knee as we take a look at today's KFC breakdown. What do you have, Coach Mason?
Well, Demery Croft, this is the dimension that he gives this offense and what they need today. Watch it right here on the read play. Good running backs, but he makes the read on the defensive end. He pulls it out there. He's only got one guy to beat, and watch this. Now, this is an awful good replay. Demery Croft, he's off to the races, and Brandon, should I say, that's finger-licking good.
Oh, KFC loves you, Coach. We all love you.
I love KFC.
7-zip as Minnesota now will try to come with an answer. They get it around the outside going with Rodney Smith. Demery Croft, we mentioned what he did last week against Nebraska. You saw the long run. How about that, though? Previous 6 games, 154 yards, and then he sets the single-game record for Minnesota.
Well, I think a lot had to do with Nebraska. They went in the game. They were going to shut down the running backs of Minnesota, and they forgot about that guy, and one guy is not going to tackle it.
They sent Smith in motion, then they handed it to McCrary, and he coughed it up. And it's going to be recovered by Northwestern's Montre Hardage. And Minnesota, who's second best in the Big Ten in turnover margin, but not there. McCrary turning it over the Wildcats.
Yeah, first mistake of the game. We talked about it being wet. You see McCrary, who's been really good this year, and it didn't even look like he got hit. It looked like it squirted right out of his arms. And watch it right here. He just lets it go. See it? It's gone before he gets hit.
So the first turnover of the game, not making P.J. Fleck happy. His slogan that he has hung all over the football facility is "the ball is the program."
Now the defense has to put out the fire.
Justin Jackson for 2 yards. Another tackle by Jacob Huff. He has been active from that safety position.
Yeah, what's really important here is that Jacob Huff, nice play, but he tackled it for a little over a yard gain. They had a wide receiver going for him, but I promise you, Mick McCall up in the press box, he sees that and says, you know what? Safeties are not supposed to make plays at the line of scrimmage. Watch out for the play-action pass.
Justin Jackson, 92 rushing yards. Well, we know that Clayton Thorson can throw the ball, and they do fake the give and opt to throw it. On the run, it's complete. That's Skoranek, who had the big game last week against Purdue with 117 yards and a touchdown. First down, Northwestern.
Yeah, you got to credit Thorson. He kept the ball alive and had some time. He moved around. He's going to be a little bit of pressure from the backside. And when you look at Skoranek right there, you can see he's worried about catching that football. He tucked it all the way in because it is wet.
Good grab by the sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Thorson's hit on his last 4 passes, trying to make it 5, and the streak is broken. I just jinxed him. He threw it behind Skoranek that time.
Yeah, the reason he had to throw it behind him was number 41, Thomas Barber, the middle linebacker, didn't go for that play fake. He dropped straight back. If he did throw it behind him, it would have been picked off.
Skoranek, he has been really good at home and not as good on the road. And all 4 touchdowns have come here at Ryan Field. But he has become the favorite target. Back to the ground game. And that means back to Justin Jackson. Eventually dropped by Steven Richardson. Bring up 3rd down and short.
What's interesting, you know, when I was coaching, we got down here, I would tell my offensive coordinator, you got 2 downs to get the 1st down. Now, Pat Fitzgerald says he never does that. And Mick McCall say he never knows until after the 3rd down play on what they're going to do on 4th down. Interesting to me.
Jackson has now hit 100 yards rushing. Well, you got to figure with how many times they go for it on 4th in these situations that they would do it if they need to. That's close. With the hurdle, Justin Jackson will pick up the 1st for Northwestern.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is a hurdle or just a little jump here, you know, because we've seen some guys that have gone really airborne. He's just stepping over people.
Looked good doing it, though.
Oh, yeah. Effective. He said if I had to jump higher, I would have, you know. Come on.
Getting a grip with those shoes, not going to be easy in this game. To the right side this time. Down to the 9. So Northwestern got the turnover, trying to make it a 2-score game. They are moving the ball effectively against this Minnesota defense.
Yeah, a lot of the runs, they're pulling linemen. And the effect that has when you pull linemen like that affects the defense because you have to adjust your gaps. And right now, Minnesota's not doing a very good job of that.
They did a great job last week against Nebraska. They held the Cornhuskers to just 69 rushing yards, but Northwestern already has 138 today. That time a little bit better. They stuffed the middle.
Justin Jackson, the ball
Said they call number 96 Steven Richardson the stove. He was in on that, was the big stove amongst others.
Yeah, hard to move. They just ran an inside zone and they brought somebody back across the formation to block the backside defensive end so that he can't trail and make the play.
Steven Richardson, by the way, last year after the game when Minnesota beat Northwestern, he tweeted out, "Hey Northwestern, am I still too short to play in the Big Ten?" Because they did not recruit him. And he had 2 sacks in that game. He wanted to make sure they knew that, hey, I'm a good player. Thorson throwing, complete, touchdown. And on senior day, it's the senior Garrett Dickerson. Just his 2nd touchdown reception of the season. And it comes from 8 yards out.
Garrett Dickerson, the superback. That's what I always wanted to be, was a superback. Crossing route.
Nice catch.
Yeah, it was a really good catch. Got a step on the defender and kept going, and Thorson put the ball exactly where he had to put it.
Garrett Dickerson coming into the season, they had high hopes for that superback, as you said, kind of the fullback tight end hybrid. As the PAT is blocked, there's a flag as well, so plenty to sort out here.
Illegal formation. Kicking team. Number 49 was not lined up on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. The try is no good. Timeout.
So the block stands. See if that comes into play later. But right now, all the scoring on the side of Northwestern. Garrett Dickerson from 8 yards out. Zip Northwestern. 8:34 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Bring out your poncho day in Evanston. Love to see the youngsters braving the elements, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're talking about Big Ten football, Evanston, Illinois. You're on Lake Michigan.
What you expect in November.
Just dress properly and have some fun.
Once again, Godwin Igwebuike will have to hold it for Luke Otto. Wind-aided touchback yet again as we go across town to our studio. T-Mobile studio update with Mike Hall.
Hey, Brandon and Glenn. Wisconsin and Michigan, big game and big defenses. So in the 1st quarter, there was no scoring, which means if you're going to get a score, it's coming on special teams. Nick Nelson, the delayed pickup for the Badgers, gets past one wave and he's gone. 50 yards for the score, and the Badgers strike first. They're up 7-0 in the 2nd quarter.
Certainly keeping our eyes eyes on that game. A lot of people have their eyes on that game as Minnesota takes over. And the turnover last time, and this isn't going to be a good start to this drive. Getting in to drop him, Sam Miller, taking Demery Croft to the ground. 2nd and 12 coming up.
Well, you can see it right here. He goes to throw the football. It's covered and takes a couple steps, wants to throw it again, but that Wildcat defense doing what they're supposed to be doing, containing the quarterback.
7 tackles for a loss for Miller before that, so now 8. He and his brother Alex, both from Houston, they wreak havoc on that defensive line. To the ground to Rodney Smith. Not much there. It's going to bring up 3rd and long. Minnesota's only run 13 plays in this game. To compare that to Northwestern, who has had 34 plays and 12 first downs already.
I think the key thing here that I'm actually seeing, well, it's 3rd and 10. If they don't convert here, now we're going to see how Minnesota handles punting into the wind.
And it is a stiff wind that the Gophers are going against. At 5 and 5, sitting on the door of hopeful bowl eligibility for a 6th straight season. Well, that gets him 5 yards to the 30. The Kobe McCrary carry.
You know, if you were to watch the defensive line right there, I mean, they're not making a pass move. They're not doing anything. They're going to play run and contain the quarterback. That's goal number 1. Job number 1 today.
The job done. Forcing a punt as Riley Lees will wait for the boot. Ryan Santoso. Into the wind, and look at that. The wind just knocked that football right down at midfield. Santoso tried to punt it lower, but Coach, you mentioned it. The weather wreaking havoc. Northwestern will have good field position. Just a 19-yard boot into the wind. There's some friendly history between P.J. Fleck and Pat Fitzgerald. When P.J. Fleck was a young assistant in Northern Illinois, he called Pat Fitzgerald. He said, hey, I'd love to go to lunch. Pat Fitzgerald said, okay. P.J. Fleck gets in his car, drives up here. They go to Bluestone, just a couple blocks from campus, and that is inside the Bluestone restaurant. Tell you what, nice gesture by Pat Fitzgerald. A hungry P.J. Fleck at the time as an assistant wanted to be a head coach, and he said Pat Fitzgerald was the only head coach that he reached out to that agreed to go to lunch with him.
Yeah, and he said that he called Pat, and Pat bought. How's that? That's pretty good. And, you know, there's, besides being an outstanding football coach, Pat Fitzgerald, classy. Talk about a guy who's a great football player in his own right, and now a great football coach. What he's done here at Northwestern is spectacular. This
year will be the 8th bowl game in 12 seasons under the Pat Fitzgerald watch. And yeah, to say that that's great is an understatement, as that pass is broken up in the direction of Flynn Nagel. Dangerous pass, and that'll bring up 3rd and 9.
Yeah, that was thrown a little bit late. And, you know, initially he's got enough to throw the ball on time there, and then he gets hit as he's throwing it by Andrew Stelter, and they're lucky that the safety didn't jump that ball for an interception.
Yeah, Duke McGee was right there on the back of Flynn Nagel. Thorson trying to keep those hands warm and dry. That's what the kangaroo pouch is for. 6 minutes left, even 2nd quarter. And Thorson is dropped. So Minnesota looking much better defensively here on this series. A loss of 4 on the sack. You had Kamal Martin in there. You also had Winston DeLatte-Baudaire.
Yeah, you'll see it right here. And they talked about, Rob Smith talked about in passing situations, taking Kamal Martin, a linebacker, and because of his athletic ability, speed, and quickness, use him as a defensive end rushing, very effective.
He has really stepped up, has Martin, since the breakout game he had against Purdue, in which he had 7 tackles and an interception. And Minnesota needs more of that, because at times Northwestern has moved the football at will here in the first half. Wind at the back of Hunter Niswander, and he is going to check this up nicely. That's a gorgeous pitching wedge. A 48-yard wedge. The first play of the game for Minnesota, they had 36 yards. Since then, they're just over 40 yards after that carry for 5 by Rodney Smith.
Rodney Smith, an awful good football player. You just got to keep giving him the ball. And, you know, when you're Minnesota and you're backed up against your own goal line like that, you got to at least get a first down and get a little room to punt the ball out of there.
Only 2 first downs in this game for Minnesota. We just said it. One of the first ones came, the first one came on play number 1, and a 36-yard pass to Rashad Still. They're not going to get a first down here. Northwestern was ready for that. Brett Walsh came flying through like he was shot out of a cannon, a loss of 1.
Yeah, Minnesota came back with the same play, trying to hit that middle, but this time they pitched on the inside. Nowhere to go on the inside, no gain. And now you got another critical third down because, as we talked about before, you don't pick it up, you're putting into the win again. Should be great field position for Northwestern if they can hold here.
Well, the last 2 drives for Northwestern have started in plus territory. Might this be a third? And yes, it will be, because it's intercepted by Montre Hardage. The junior stepped in front and intercepted Timry Croft.
It didn't look like they were on the same page. You can see Croft go right away to the receiver. I don't know.
And Hardage, who picked up the fumble earlier, is responsible for both Northwestern takeaways.
Yeah, I don't think that Montre Hardage, he sat all over that stop route right there. And I mean, you know where the receiver's going to be. If you're the quarterback, you've got to read the corner, and he sat down quicker than the receiver did.
So the 3rd straight drive for Northwestern that will start in plus territory. This one in the red zone. Justin Jackson will get 3.
I know that Rob Smith's big concern is Northwestern's running game was the outside zone, the stretch play, because of Jackson's ability to plant a foot and cut the ball back. So far, the damage has been done with the inside run zone.
Stay tuned. Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report coming up with Rick, Howard, and Chuck in our studio. Around the outside, touchdown! Jelani Roberts, first score of the season around the edge, and he does it from 12 yards out. A rarely used weapon, but they say Roberts has a ton of speed, especially on the edges, and that's where they utilized him right there.
Well, great call by Nick McCall. You know, they're pounding the inside, and they come back with the jet sweep, and I don't know if he saw something where they're running the inside or not, but that was wide open. He walked in the end zone.
And now Northwestern is going to go for 2. Pat Fitzgerald, seeing the blocked extra point earlier, wants to try to get to 21.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this. I understand why he's doing, because the mixed extra point.
Minnesota's going to have to burn a timeout. They weren't ready for the 2-point conversion.
Minnesota, the 30
So we'll see it on the other side of this break. There's reason to be fired up. I don't know if there's a reason to wear a short sleeve shirt, but there's a reason to be fired up.
You're telling me that guy, he's been waiting all day to do that dance, and he's good at it.
He's been waiting all day to wear that extra medium polo he's got on, too. I'll tell you that much for free. 2-point attempt here after the touchdown. Minnesota was forced to take the timeout. All the action rolling right. Thorson had to force it in. Trying to get it to Skowronek, incomplete. So Croft threw the interception. Hardage was right there. And then it's Jelani Roberts around the edge. 3-score lead for the Cats.
College mascots. When it comes to hyping up football fans, nobody does it better. But when it comes to mortgages, they're less confident. Fortunately, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so they can understand the details and be sure they're getting the right mortgage. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, proud supporter of college athletics.
All 19 points for Northwestern have come in the second quarter. You mentioned that they haven't had much success scoring in the first quarter. I guess when you put up 19 in the second, it doesn't matter.
Well, they're just jockeying themselves in position, so to say. And, you know, and I brought that up to Pat Fitzgerald. He kind of looked at me surprised, like he knows everything. I mean, he knows all the analytics, and he kind of looked at me and he says, well, I guess we had a couple turnovers, and they've been stacking up against the run, but we won 5 games in a row. So I don't think he liked me asking him that.
They enjoyed last week just not having to go to overtime. They won those 3 consecutive OT games. Rodney Smith, finally a chance to return it because these kicks have been going with a wind at the back of Luke Otto, but Smith is able to return this one and get it to the 22.
You know, let's not forget last week Rodney took it back, opening kickoff, 99 yards against the Cornhuskers.
And he was named the Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week for that effort.
Well, the best play Minnesota had all day was the first play, the deep pass to Still, but you know, you wonder why they don't come back to it. I don't think they're going to come back to it into this win.
Well, this quarter into that win, 8 plays for Minnesota's offense, 20 yards, no first downs, and 2 turnovers. It has been a disastrous second quarter for this offense and the defense, both sides. Rodney Smith, nothing there. Joe Gaziano with a stop.
Sooner or later, you think you got to come with the read play and see if Croft can beat somebody like they did last week.
Northwestern, 32nd.
Northwestern is going to take a timeout with 2:53 left in the first half.
Yo, check it out, dog. That was just a hype for me. I mean, you got the walk, you got the stance, but I wasn't really feeling it. You know what? I'm not buying this. You got to come a little harder, dog. You got to figure it out. I don't know. Shaky on the walk, carriage was off.
Randy Jackson judging a dog show?
I don't know, dog.
Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Lisa saved by switching to Geico.
Oh, wow. Performance of the night.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Saturday, December 2nd, the Wisconsin Badgers will take on the champions of the East in Indianapolis for the conference's ultimate prize. Don't miss the 2017 Big Ten Football Championship game presented by Discover. Saturday, December 2nd, only on Fox.
Yeah, Fitzgerald wants to get the ball back in good field position, utilizing the wind that's not going to aid the Minnesota.
Timeout of the half.
And they're going to take another timeout. We take another break. Back in a moment.
Remember that accident I got in with the pole and I had to make a claim and all that?
Is that whole thing still dragging out?
No, I took some pics with the app and filed a claim. But you know how they send you money to cover repairs and...
It took forever to pay you, right?
No, I got paid right away. But at the very end of it all, my agent wouldn't even call you back, right? No, she called to see if I was happy. But if I wasn't happy with my claim experience, for any reason, they'd give me my money back. No questions asked. Can you believe that?
No.
The claim satisfaction guarantee, only from Allstate. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
So now we identify officially strength coach Alex Spanos as the man in the extra medium polo. What does he have for breakfast that gives him that energy?
Oh, man. He's got the moves,
Look
though.
at that.
I tell you now.
It's his party. Third down. Northwestern took the 2 timeouts. Demry Croft unable to pick up the first down. Boy, Drew Himmelesky could not hang on. They had him, and look who got the ball, Mr. Spanos. Watch this. Himmelesky, no. Shawnee on the spot.
Not only can he dance, he can catch.
We might have to ask Dick Honig if that would hit the ground, though.
He's trying to return it.
All the rushing yards, though, that Demry Croft had last week, his only 3 runs in this game are sacks, as they went back to the air and couldn't convert there on 3rd down.
Yeah, the Wildcats lost contain, and Croft got out on the perimeter. He found Himmelesky wide open. Critical drop right there because watch this field position.
Here we go, another punt into the wind. And you feel for Ryan Santoso. At least he was able to get it on the other side of the 50. Let's bring back in Elise Miniker. Elise, what can you tell us about Mr. Spanos?
I saw Mr. Spanos before the game. He sprinted out on this field when the weather was just like this. He was in the same t-shirt, that polo, and he was getting the guys fired up for their warm-up. You know, they've told me that he's kind of gone viral. They started shooting videos with him and everything because it's kind of becoming just this thing to be this energetic guy, I guess.
And let's look at him in pregame, what you're talking about, Elise. He made his own shirt. He got the scissors and cut off the sleeves. That is something. I don't know what it is, but it's something. Good field position yet again for this Northwestern offense, down to the 44.
Maybe later in the game we could have a dance-off with Alex and Elise.
I'm down. I'm down for that.
And Elise, some snowflakes have trickled into the picture down there as well.
Thanks for reminding me, Brandon.
Just going to let you know in case you needed to grab another pair of mittens.
I need about 5 more, but yes.
Well, you know, it's really interesting right here, Brandon, is Northwestern uses timeouts. They get the ball back, great field position, 1 timeout left, 2 minutes left to go in the game, and they're running the football.
They've got 2 minutes right now left in this second quarter. They continue to have success, coach, on the ground. Back to Justin Jackson for about 4 yards.
Well, you know, so what do I read into that? You know, Vic McCall saying they can't stop our run. I mean, they're not going to do that. If they're going to put too many guys down there, then we'll go to the pass. But if they're going to play it straight up, we're going to run the football.
So far, 9 passes for Northwestern and 125 yards on the ground as a team. They do go to the air, and they pick up the first down right there. It's complete to Macon Wilson.
Which is important in college football because that stops the clock.
8-yard reception for Wilson, who has been big in this 5-game win streak. He had 26 of his 31 catches in the last 5 weeks for Northwestern. Now they return to the ground game. And Jackson with some great moves at the line and able to get to the outside.
Yeah, a little too much lateral running, but he had nowhere to go. And once again, Northwestern pulled those linemen again, and linebacker shot to cut off the path right there.
And once again, it was Jacob Huff making yet another tackle, and the ball is on the ground. Yeah, there's a battle for it. Looked like Northwestern was able to pounce back on it, and they were. 3rd down. Both turnovers so far have been for Minnesota. Northwestern almost had one there. Winston DeLotti-Baudier was able to force it free from Jackson. Cats recover, and then they convert. Second touchdown for Garrett Dickerson. Well, there's a senior on senior day, coach. He had 1 score all year, and now his last game at Ryan Field, he has 2 scores.
Yeah, the super back, and I know Rob Smith, defensive coordinator, was very concerned about those type of crossing routes, especially at a bunch formation, and you see him coming across the formation wide open, as Mike Hall would say.
Duke McGee tried to save the touchdown, but he could not.
But they're just.
And they're going to go for 2 again.
I guess once you start going for 2, you might as well just keep going.
So they had the block PAT, then they failed last time going for 2, and they failed going for 2 again.
That's why I kick it.
Pass is blocked down, but Northwestern loves going into the win. 4 touchdowns this quarter. Dickerson scored his 2nd touchdown, and now he has 34 catches on the season, which incidentally is the same number of catches he had last year in 2016. But it's the conversions after the touchdown that Northwestern can't really figure out right now. Winston DeLotti-Baudier was able to knock that one down. I don't know that it's going to matter. They're up 25-0, but they missed the extra point. The 2 failed 2-point conversions.
Well, that's easy for you to say. If I'm a coach, I'm on the sideline. I said it should be 28-0. Come on now.
Spoken like a coach.
Oh yeah, never happy.
The kick with a wind at the back of Luke Otto. And unable to return it, Rodney Smith. 26 seconds left. And assume that Minnesota, with just one timeout, is going to go conservative here.
Well, you should. I mean, let's face it. You look at the stats and what they've been able to do. The worst thing you could do right now with 26 seconds left is make another mistake and give Northwestern a chance to put more points on the board.
246 yards for Northwestern in this first half, just 80 for Demery Croft in Minnesota. One good piece of news for Minnesota is that they will receive the football when the third quarter begins. Handoff, Smith, and that will wind us down, presumably, to the end of the second quarter. Kyle Cairo with a tackle, and yes, P.J. Fleck has no interest in stopping the clock after the 8-yard carry. So last week, Minnesota put up 54 points on Nebraska.
This is the end of the first half.
And then 1 week later, they are held scoreless in the first half at Ryan Field. All 25 points for Northwestern coming in the second quarter. Stay tuned. Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report with Mike Hall, Howard, and Chuck coming up next. Before we get the party started in the second half of the third quarter, we check back in with Elise Spinnaker.
Hi, Brandon. I'm not sure if it's snowing or hailing right now. We've kind of had it all today, but head coach Pat Fitzgerald told me that what he's most impressed with Dickerson with those couple of touchdowns he had is how he caught them, because that's hard in these conditions. He said every day at practice we do circle drills. They throw the ball up and he watches it an extra second, catch it in. That's what he likes the most, what he saw. The biggest challenge out here, he said, is their footing. Their offensive line is having a tough time getting their feet in the ground here. As for Minnesota, P.J. Fleck wants to keep things simple on defense. He says for his offense that they need to stop beating themselves, limit turnovers, don't drop passes. It sounds like really the message to his team has been simplify in this second half. If you guys have a secret to limit turnovers in these conditions, Glenn, I'm sure they'll hear you out.
Well, I'm surprised there hasn't been more turnovers, because these conditions are really brutal. And you know, you talk about Minnesota, they're a young football team. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. The amount of injuries they've had up front is amazing.
Quicken Loan's quarterback comparison between Croft and Thorson, and the interception by Croft. No mistakes yet for Clayton Thorson.
Yeah, when you look at it, we didn't expect Minnesota to throw the ball up, but 2 for 5 and an interception, that's just not going to get it done. One of the things I'm really surprised at is that Minnesota hasn't tried to do that read option more with Demery Croft, because it was so effective last week.
Yeah, he ran the ball all over the Nebraska Cornhuskers to Demery Croft. The entire team did, but really Croft with those 183 yards. The good news for Minnesota, they will receive the ball. Rodney Smith waits. And into the wind. A low kick and good field position coming up. Maybe very good field position. Smith able to get it across the 35. Godwin Igwebuike and company able to limit him on the return somewhat. Demery Croft, a great game against Nebraska. 183 yards, 3 scores, and then today 3 rushes. They've all been really on scrambles and sacks.
Yeah, let's not forget, he's not a very experienced quarterback. He started this year rotating with Connor Rhoda, and then, you know, he really came into this starting position because of the fourth quarter performance against Michigan State. So I'm sure P.J. Fleck is going to tell you, this guy, he's got a lot of football ahead of him. He's going to get better and better as we go.
And he was suspended the 3 weeks before that game as he thought about throwing it here on the outside. Did Mark Williams. Instead, this is going to turn into another disastrous play. Tyler Lancaster, another one of those seniors on the defensive side of the ball, making a big stop.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Watch him take the ball right here. And as soon as you see a guy start retreating, you can see he's thinking about throwing the football. Wisely, though, he gave that up because he was well covered downfield. Big loss.
Lancaster, he wears number 1, and that's given to the player whose character best represents Northwestern football. And this year, it goes to Lancaster. Last season, he wore number 67. So Croft will go back to the air where he's had little success. He looks for Rashad Still. Well, Still has been the recipient of some of the targets that would normally go to Tyler Johnson. First play of the game, they hit it, but they haven't connected since.
Yeah, and Tyler Johnson, just an outstanding player. By far their best receiver, is not even here. He's here, but he's not playing today. That's a big loss. And, you know, they came with the blitz, and Croft saw it and put the ball right on the money. You've got to catch that ball. Still has been a disappointment to this coaching staff this year.
Timmy Croft converted the first 2 passing attempts of the game. Since then, 0 for 4 with an interception. He'll try again here on 3rd down. He has nowhere to go. Yet again, Northwestern swarming. Joe Gaziano led the charge. Warren Long got in there as well. And Dimry Croft on the ground, and it will be another punt coming up.
You talked about the 183 yards that Croft had last week against Nebraska. A lot of that had to do with him pulling the ball down. There was nowhere to go and take off and running. He did the same thing against the Michigan defense. With the running room he took off. Well, Mike Hankwitz, defensive coordinator, you can see what he's emphasized. They're keeping him in the pocket.
And very successful at doing just that. Flag coming down as Riley Lees looks for room.
Riley Lees on the return, flag on the play.
13-16 left in the 3rd quarter. As Don Willard checks on the flag. And Eric Carter, you saw slow to get up.
Holding, receiving team number 4. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Holding on the Cats.
Yeah, he stumbles. You see Carter, he stumbles and, you know, goes down and hurt Looked like his left wheel there messed up.
Yeah, it was the left as he was battling there with J.R. Pace. First penalty for Northwestern on the game. Clayton Thorson, 2 touchdown passes, both to Garrett Dickerson, and now look where he stands, just a pair away from the top of the chart. Career touchdown passes here at Northwestern.
Well, now Northwestern's into the win. You would think they go back to the running game, which they've effectively done all day.
And they do on first down. Jackson 3 yards to the 20. But between Jackson and Thorson, you almost have to throw the record books out the window and start all over with what they've been able to do.
Talking to Pat Fitzgerald about this senior class, and you know, he says you look back to what this senior class has accomplished here at Northwestern is amazing.
Yeah, it really has been something. He said the good news, and you and I talked about it a little bit earlier, he said, gosh, offensively, yes, we're losing Jackson, our center Brad North, and then Garrett Dickerson, but really everything else is back. He has a really good feeling about next season and beyond.
Justin Jackson, ball carrier.
3rd down coming up after the Jackson carry. Tonight, men's basketball in action on BTN. Taking place is Bucknell and Penn State do battle. Tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on BTN. And as always, streaming live on BTN To Go and Fox Sports Go.
I'm going to tell you before the game's out who I'm going to pick in that game. How's that? You got to think about it.
It was Maryland Bucknell. Penn State Bucknell.
Yeah.
But Maryland coming off a big win over Butler the other day. They have been looking good in the early going on the hardwood. Justin Jackson with a completion.
Now it'll be interesting. What do you do here, leading 25 zip? I think he's making the right decision.
Yeah, they're going to punt it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the analytics say. The analytics say you're up 25-0. Why give the opposing team a chance to get good field position? You just don't do it.
That's the other thing he mentioned. He said, you know, it's a mix for me of analytics and then using my head and gut and what feels right at the time. He said the analytics don't always have the answer. It was Pat Fitzgerald's philosophy.
Made a lot of baseball analogies. I really enjoyed our meeting with him.
Yeah, the baseball meetings. Even said he's taken some stuff from Brad Stevens, Boston Celtics head coach. A punt into the wind. Antonio Chenault. Fair catch. Tough to punt into that wind all day. It's not going to get any easier. 32-yard boot, 25-zip. Northwestern leads it.
The only play they've gotten us all day was the first play from scrimmage. They went deep. Don't fall asleep. Guys up front, you're doing a great job containing Croft.
SoFi, the preferred financial loan partner of the Big Ten Conference. Mike Hankwit's 10th year here, along with Pat Fitzgerald in his 12th season, as the pass is incomplete. Croft trying to complete it to Philip Howard.
Yeah, he was trying to go with Philip Howard, but initially he was going deep. Just like I thought. Hey, it makes sense. You got to get some big plays. You're down 25-0. You're not going to have this win with you the rest of the day. You've shown, everybody has shown they've had problems throwing into the wind, so you got to take your shots.
Godwin Igwebuike was there and said no sir to Philip Howard. Fifth-year senior, 42nd career start today for Igwebuike on the defensive side for Northwestern. Howard in motion. And it's Rodney Smith. Remember, no Shannon Brooks in this game for Minnesota. Out for his third straight. Had a concussion, then a shoulder injury, so the load is falling to Rodney Smith.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Justin Jackson today, but, you know, Rodney Smith, he's an outstanding running back, and he's proven it time and time again. And the thing about him, he's got the ability to be consistent, pounding it inside, but one missed tackle, he'll take it the distance on it.
He has 58 yards today, Coach. He's also second, right behind Justin Jackson, for carries in the Big Ten. Right in second together. Jonathan Taylor of Wisconsin is up in the top spot. He came into today in that game against Michigan with 219 carries as flags fly.
Bradley Smith, the ball carrier, flag on the play.
Northwestern jumped, but I thought they got back.
Offside. Defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
They ruled that Joe Gaziano did not get back.
He's lined up at that left defensive end position, and you see that he jumps, and I think it's right. He tried to get back, it just didn't matter.
Rodney Smith was dealing with all the grass in his helmet, but he got it out. He's ready to go again. Battle conditions down there today for both of these teams. Play action. Right up the middle came the pressure from Alex Miller. And once again, Dimry Croft finds himself on the ground.
Well, you can see right here, I mean, they lose the protection end of it, and he's got no chance.
Earlier, his brother Sam Miller had a tackle for a loss, and now Alex gets one of his own.
And let's, in defense, not an excuse, but, you know, for Minnesota, I mean, they have a reworked offensive line. They had injuries after injuries. They only have 7 offensive linemen for 5 positions.
Yeah, we were going through the 2 deep. They said, well, if it's an interior guy, Bronson Dovich will come in. If it's on the outside, Quinn Osland, and that's it. You're right, Coach. Just 7 offensive linemen available. And here, Croft, under pressure again, is just going to have to throw it away.
The quarterback was outside the tackle box, and the ball made it past the line of scrimmage.
Injury update time. What do you have, Elise?
Eric Carter getting some work done on the sidelines. That left foot giving him some pain. You could see it on his face after they took his cleat off. They were kind of feeling around the top of the foot. Once they put it back on, they're almost having him do sort of calf raises. After they taped it up, he gave his teammate the thumbs up.
Last thing Minnesota needs, more injuries.
Well, 3rd and long, you would assume that Northwestern will play coverage. They're rushing 4, which they do. They lose contain.
He will take outside of the pocket, and that's his first positive run of the game. After all he did last week against Nebraska, it's still going to bring up 4th down, though.
Yeah, it's 4th down, and Mike Hankwitz will not be happy because you'll see it right here, the defensive end on the left-hand side. He goes inside, which you lose contain. Luckily, he didn't get trapped all the way inside, or Croft would have had a big game.
Instead, they were able to keep him to the short game, and it will be a punt forthcoming as we approach 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Croft, though, 2 completions, and he's been sacked 5 times in this game. It's kind of indicative of how this has gone for Minnesota. Still quite a bit of time, though. 8:13 left in the third. Timeout. Here's the United States Marine Corps leader of the game, and fittingly, it's Northwestern senior running back Justin Jackson. And we mentioned he's a major in econ, a minor in French, GPA of 3.5, and just a great all-around kid.
Tough as they come.
And he's pretty good running the football, too. Spinning away across the 25 to the 27. He's now within 10 yards of 1,000 on the season, and Coach, when he hits that 1,000-yard mark, he's going to be only the second Big Ten back ever to do that in 4 straight seasons.
Unbelievable. There's been a lot of great backs in this conference.
The other, Ron Dane, and all the great 4 years that he had at Wisconsin. Well, they go to Jackson on 2nd and 3. Big shift to the left side for the Superbacks. Now they send Roberts in motion, but they do give it to Thorson. He broke 1. He could not break 2. Jonathan Celestine drops him after a short pickup of 1. 3rd down.
They even had Thorson under center there. A straight snap and handing it to Jackson. I'll venture to say again, if they don't pick this one up, they're going to punt it.
So much more elusive, though, than he was against Purdue last week. Purdue, though, I mean, gosh, they might as well have had 11 guys in the box.
Yeah, and Purdue, under Nick Holt, the defensive coordinator, has done a fabulous job. Very much improved down there in West Lafayette.
It's the 4th time this year that Jackson was held under 50, but not in this game, although Minnesota's defense playing better. They hold Jackson to a yard there, so that will bring up 4th down.
Yeah, a little hop step and making the read to the inside. And see, that's where Pat Fitzgerald on the sideline, he's dying to go for it. I mean, dying, but his brain says no, punt it away.
With that 1-yard run, Justin Jackson now has 150 on the game. Pat Fitzgerald does send out the punt unit. Hunter Nicewander, that may be the best punt that we've seen into the wind. It was the best punt we've seen into the wind. We've seen some that have struggled. That one goes for 38 yards. Minnesota, they'll see if they can get the offense going when we get back.
Well, they're doing a great job. With the exception of the first play for scrimmage, they've been zoned in exactly what they have to stop. They're stopping the running attack. Most importantly, they've neutralized Demery Croft as far as running the football, and they've been able to come over up with 2 turnovers. Mike Hankwitz, the veteran defensive coordinator, you'll never get him smiling during the game, but after the game they keep it up. He'll be ear to ear.
Yeah, he loves what he's seen so far. Croft going to try to go back to the air on a deep ball, and oh, he underthrew it, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Kyle Cairo. And Kyle Cairo, one of the seniors, getting the interception on senior day.
Did I say 2 turnovers? I meant 3 turnovers. And it's snowing out.
And Demery Croft has had a rough go of it. 2nd time he's thrown an interception today.
Well, you can see the double move on the play action pass, but Northwestern was not going to be fooled. They had 2 men back there, and you just can't throw that floater like that unless a guy is wide open behind guys, and that was not the case.
4 interceptions now in the season for Cairo to lead the Northwestern Wildcats. When it rains, it snows for the Gophers, I guess you could say. And it is snowing right now as the temperatures have plummeted down to the mid-30s. Wind chill, it says right now, making it feel like it's 20 degrees or so.
Well, the Gopher defense has been playing better. Now they got to rise to the occasion right now.
Justin Jackson. Flag coming in.
I would say that's a holding.
As Jackson stretches to the 20, I think you're absolutely right.
Personal foul, tripping, offense number 71, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, repeat, 1st down.
Tripping penalty.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's tripping.
Sleet and wind, temp 37, wind chill in the mid-20s, and the wind 22 miles per hour.
Yeah, you'll see him going right there. I think it's right there, but I'm not. Yeah. Well, he had a better view than I did.
Don Willard, referee, throwing the flag on that one. So 1st and 25. Now back him up. Justin Jackson. And this is going to put him over 1,000 for the season. And now he is just the second back ever in Big Ten history as a flag comes in to have 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Only he and Ron Dane have ever done that in Big Ten football. We'll see if it stands.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Defense number 8. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Automatic first down.
So that run will stand, and Jackson is over 1,000 this season.
Well, you can see right here, an excellent block by the wide receiver, Macon Wilson, and then there's a late hit out of bounds. Oh, yeah, that's way late.
It's Duke McGee.
Duke McGee was called a number of times a year ago for targeting.
Yeah.
And Coach Fleck's not going to be happy. That's not a smart play right there.
You're right. McGee had 3 targeting penalties last year, most in FBS football. This time, Justin Jackson goes back a yard. So he was at 1,011 on the season. Now he's at 1,010. Thomas Barber with a nice tackle.
Yeah, you know, the last couple series, Minnesota has really strengthened up their middle run defense. And where Northwestern's been gaining yards is going outside a little bit. I'm a little surprised that they went back to the middle there.
Maybe they'll pop it to the outside here on 2nd 11.
And then you better get ready again for the super back on a crossing route because Minnesota hasn't defended that all day long.
Dickerson on the left side of the line, just a step back. That's that super back position. Thorson, though, instead of Dickerson, he's throwing for Skoranek. Touchdown, Northwestern. Now 43 career touchdown passes for Clayton Thorson, one off the Northwestern record.
So you see right here, every week we talk about well-executed man coverage. If you run a back shoulder throw, which that is, that defender has no chance. And if I had one word to describe Northwestern's offense, very efficient.
It has been efficient. There's no doubt about it. Thorson, 9 completions today, 3 of them for touchdowns. This was number 9, and it went to Ben Skoranek. What a day for Justin Jackson. He went over 5,000 career yards and now 1,000 this season. So he and Ron Dane, only 2 players in Big Ten history to do it all 4 years. That is something.
Yeah, and the other guy that did it has a Heisman Trophy. So what does that say?
Only 8 players have ever done it in any conference in FBS history. And this one is all Northwestern, 32-0. Ball being held and squibbed with that win in the face of Luke Otto. Rodney Smith dance his way just shy of the 40. Godwin Igwebuike, yeah, he got a little shy. I thought.
So you know what the coaching point is when the guy holds the ball? You tell him, close your eyes. I mean, that's what you do. You got to close your eyes because when they see that coming.
Ben Skoranek had the touchdown reception. You know, Austin Carr, all the great things that he did here, they thought Flynn Nagel would be the guy that was a recipient, but really Ben Skoranek has been the guy.
Yeah, I don't know how you replace a guy like Carr, but, you know, not surprising in college football. A lot of times a guy will show up like Skoranek did this year.
Cairo coming up to tackle for a loss there. Skoranek now with the snow and sleet coming down, just searching for warmth.
You know, when you got a 32-0 lead, it's fun playing football in this weather, you know?
It's a tandem. It's a bicycle for 2 right there.
It's great. Not so much for the other team.
But yeah, Austin Carr now with the Patriots, what a big loss he was. And Flynn Nagel still had a good year. Don't get me wrong. He's over 40 receptions, but Skoranek has made the huge jump for Pat Fitzgerald. Huge hole for Kobe McCrary. McCrary, who averages a team best 5.7 yards per carry on the season, got a good chunk there for 18.
Yeah, McCrary's the type of guy you think you really like in this weather. Besides being a good running back, he's 240 pounds. And unfortunate fumble earlier in the game.
He had the fumble, Croft the 2 interceptions, and all 3 takeaways Northwestern turned into scores.
Officials are doing an outstanding job keeping those footballs dry today.
Police told us they normally have less than 20. They have 24 footballs that they use today. So they're 38, a 4-yard gain that time for McCrary.
Tackle by Dave Hall. Here to 4 on the play, 2nd and 6 Minnesota on the Northwestern 38-yard line.
Second down and 6. They continue to keep those footballs dry as best they can on the sideline.
The ball man down there's got shorts on.
He's tough. He's from Minnesota. This is going nowhere. Rodney Smith stuffed. T-Mobile studio update right now. Let's check back in with Mike Hall.
Well, Brandon and Glenn, Big Ten fans will find this one interesting. Virginia is doubling up Miami in South Florida, and that matters because Miami's ranked ahead of Wisconsin, which is the Big Ten's best shot to make the playoff, and right now Miami in real trouble.
Wow.
Yes, if you think you've got college football figured out, just wait. It's like the weather here at Evanston, starting with rain, now it's snow.
They're still partying about their victory over Notre Dame.
Minnesota 0 for 7 on 3rd down. P.J. Fleck just sprinted down the sideline and took a timeout.
First charge.
We'll take the break with him. 1:41 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
No one knows where it comes from. Why some have it and some don't. It's the fighting spirit. It consumes fear and weakness. It stands ready to fight whatever shape the battle takes. Because as long as there are battles, there will always be Marines.
Tuesday on an all-new journey, see how one family has made a big difference in the life of Indiana wide receiver Simmie Cobbs. Plus, all-access look at the top 25 matchup between Michigan and Wisconsin. Don't miss all-new episode of The Journey Big Ten Football 2017. It's Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern on BTN. So the timeout was taken by P.J. Fleck as Minnesota looks for their first 3rd down conversion of the game. That's not going to... Whoa, wait a minute. That will do it. Rodney Smith, not only with a conversion, all the way down to the 11-yard line. A little Houdini act.
Yeah, I thought he was tackled for no gain, and you talked about what a dynamic back. Watch it right here. I mean, they've got him in the grips.
1st and 10 Minnesota on the Northwestern 11-yard line.
Big play.
30 yards for Rodney Smith.
No quitting that man right there.
I was about to call him down. He said, I'll show you. 30 yards later. And they do get that first 3rd down conversion of the game to the Gophers. Smith has 87 yards on 15 carries, and he's in the backfield again. He'll get it.
About the same type of run.
I was just going to say, I wasn't going to announce him down right there. All that, though, for no gain, brought down by Blake Gallagher.
Yeah, if you think he's going to go down just because you get a shoulder into him, you got to wrap him up, and you better hope there's more than one man there to tackle him.
Stickers coming off the side of his helmet.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10, Minnesota.
Minnesota going with the win. I'm sure they would like to score before this quarter ends. Looking for anything right now, down 32-0.
It's the blitz.
Yep, Croft escapes, fires. Batted away. Mark Williams was the intended target, but over the top, Godwin Igwebuike knocked it free.
Yeah, Croft did a nice job there because they brought the blitz, didn't pick it up. He got outside. He kept his eyes downfield. Rather than the rush, you can see it. He had an open receiver, made a good pass. He couldn't hold on to it. And good play by the defender. You're right.
I think Buke just timed it perfectly.
Okay, it's third down. You go back to the run. It's been effective. Draw play to Rodney.
Hey, Mike, as Demery Croft is 2 for 10. He's missed his last 8 passes after starting 2 for 2. They will throw with Croft. Pockets clean, and it's intercepted. Should have been caught by Philip Howard, but through his hands, and Nate Hall picked it. That's a tough one for Demery Croft. That one wasn't his fault.
No, he put the ball right on the money. It was a good play call. It should have been a touchdown, and ricocheted off, and very opportunistic by Northwestern's defense. You see, he's wide open, put the ball right on the money.
A quick reaction by Nate Hall after it went through Howard's hands.
Ball spotted at the 18.
Yeah, I mean,
Northwestern.
It wasn't hit out. It just went right through his fingers.
Saw Rashad Still with a drop earlier. Himaleski had a drop for Minnesota. So Demery Croft, the first 2 interceptions you can put on him. That one, the fault of Howard. So Northwestern takes over again, enjoying a big cushion.
Jeremy Larkin, the ball carrier.
Jeremy Larkin getting the carry, and that'll wind us down to the end of the third quarter. Minnesota still being shut out in Evanston. 32-0 Wildcats.
Yeah, you got to look at that one right there. I mean, they're trailing in late in the third quarter. Raquel Mendenhall has got them going. They're trailing. I think that says 28-14. That's awful tough to do, baby, on the road. One thing about it, big victory against Notre Dame, you got to let it go and move on.
Poor Mercer down 49-0 to Alabama. That's not fair if you're Mercer.
Well, someone said they knew what they signed up for. I'm going to tell you, those players from Mercer didn't sign up for that.
That's that get-right game in between Mississippi State and Auburn for Alabama, top-ranked team in the country. Northwestern gives to Jeremy Larkin. Between the quarters, that's Pat Fitzgerald in the midst of all that, jumping up and down with his guys. You think he likes the performance today?
Well, he doesn't want to be outdone by that weight coach. He's telling Alex, hey, I can do some moves too, but he's fired up. Remember, say the way this is going, you think about this season, what they can do. This will be 8th win. They can win next week, 9 wins. They win the bowl game, 10 wins. You know what they'll start thinking? Geez, we'd like to have that Duke game back.
Yeah, that's Matt Alviti has taken over for Clayton Thorson. That Duke game, a bit of an aberration. I mean, you look at the numbers. Duke ran all over Northwestern, something nobody else has been able to do.
Jeremy Larkin, the ball carrier.
That was that loss early on in the season in week 2, 41-17. But yes, they had the loss to Northwestern, to Wisconsin, and to Penn State to start Big Ten play. Those are understandable, though. They haven't lost since.
Yeah, you know, the thing about those overtime victories, you know, I mean, those are really special. But as a coach, you know, when you get to overtime like that, it can go either way. So they're very fortunate to be where they are.
The overtime wins against Iowa, Michigan State, and Nebraska. First FBS team to win 3 overtime games in a row. Minnesota will have to tangle with Wisconsin next week if they hope to get another win, as that punt is just boom. It was a wind-aided punt, yes, but it was a beauty. Folks, that was a 73-yard punt from Hunter Nicewander. Timeout. Wind. All Northwestern early fourth quarter. We welcome those of you who are watching Rutgers, Indiana, now in a weather delay. Brandon Gaudin, Glenn Mason, Elise Smittiker with you. And Clayton Thorson, Justin Jackson, their days appear to be over. They can enjoy the rest of the Parkas on the sideline with that comfortable lead. Now the only question, can Minnesota get something going offensively? And just as I say that, a fumble by Rodney Smith, and Northwestern recovers. That is the 5th turnover for the Golden Gophers in this game.
Yeah, unfortunate for Rodney Smith because he's been having a good game. And you see right there,
first down,
he really, it wasn't a hit right on the ball. That's not what happened. It was a glancing blow. And needless to say, he didn't have that ball secured like he should.
Nate Hall just had an interception earlier, and now he gets a fumble recovery. And the summary of this game has just been really Northwestern dominant. You look at the total yardage. Now 5 turnovers for Minnesota. That pretty much tells the story.
Well, they were struggling as it was, and the wind really hurt them, but the turnovers absolutely doomed them, along with their inability to stop the running game of Northwestern.
Turnovers on back-to-back snaps now. And Hall with the interception and then the fumble recovery on both of those to the outside, going around the edge. And is it going to be a touchdown? Yes. Corey Acker, first touchdown. And guess what? It's a senior getting into the end zone for the first time in his career from 24 yards out.
Well, that was too easy. You know, when something like that happens, you know, is it because Northwestern is so good or because Gophers are so bad? And on this play, we got to say the Gophers were bad. They didn't contain the ball. You see Duke McGee coming over the top. He eased up. He didn't try to make a play. He was out of position. He probably underestimated the speed of that running back.
How great is that, though? You're a senior. You're a walk-on. This is your last game at Ryan Field. And you get your first touchdown on a 24-yard run.
And you know who's really glad? Mom and Dad, who've been sitting out in this weather all day long in the snow and saying, that's our boy.
6 touchdowns by 5 different men in a Northwestern uniform. Acker, the most recent. He said, here are your awards, Coach.
Oh, man, I got to go with Paul Chris as my Coach of the Year, undefeated Wisconsin. Hope I'm not jinxing. They're trailing Michigan as we speak. Saquon Barkley, just an unbelievable player as a runner and a pass receiver. Josie Jewell is a linebacker. When I've had him, he makes plays all over the field. J.T. Barrett, outstanding career, outstanding season, with the exception of one game.
Boy, as Rodney Smith was struggling to pick it up, but finally he did.
And then you know who I'm going to take as the freshman of the year. Huh? I mean, that running back, Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin, freshman out of New Jersey, just unbelievable.
Once again, congratulations to Corey Acker. Walk on with the first touchdown of his career.
And you know, you talked about he's happy. I'm going to tell you who's happier. All those other players on the sideline, because what he does, he's probably a scout team player every day. He suits up. He doesn't get a chance to play, but he gives it his all to make the team better.
And congratulations from everybody over on that sideline. 39-0 Northwestern, well on their way to win number 8 this season. You look at Minnesota, though. They have 5 turnovers in this game. They came in with the second best turnover margin in the conference, so they were +4. Now they're -1 all of a sudden.
Yeah, you know, they did a very good job protecting the football. They did an unbelievable job not getting penalized, which is a good disciplined football team. And you know, this will be a very disappointing loss for them, and then they're going to go home next week to play Wisconsin for the Axe. And you know, depending what happens to Wisconsin today against Michigan, they could still really play the role of a spoiler.
And they could get to 6 wins. And I want to mention again, it's possible for them to get to a bowl game with 5 wins. It all matters on the APR scores, and that's something there we haven't seen a lot of today. Dimry Croft with a positive run, picking up the first down.
Yeah, we haven't seen that play very much at all, whether it be a design run or the read play where he reads the defensive end, of which he just absolutely killed Nebraska on a week ago. And he picks up the first down yards, but let's face it, Northwestern was good position to defend that play.
54 points for Minnesota last week in that 54-21 win against Nebraska. Different story here this afternoon. Kobe McCrary up the middle to the 31. You know, so many people on our great crew, Coach, and as we sift through the rest of the fourth quarter, we need to start to recognize those individuals. And we start with producer Jim Ressler, director Pat O'Connor, technical managers Doug Schmidt and Ethan Ritz, technical director Brian Holder, our tape producer John Bridgens. Those are just some of the names on a crew that has been so spectacular to work with this year.
They've been unbelievable. You know what from my perspective, not only are they good, they've made it fun for us. Just terrific.
Right up the middle, big hole here. Into plus territory goes Kobe McCrary. When he's touched the ball, good things have happened. Almost 6 yards per carry this year for McCrary, and he gets 24 there.
Official's timeout for an injured offensive player.
He quits, even though his team's pitching a shutout. He's not happy.
Have you been around very many defensive coordinators? I mean, shutout, I mean, they're going to get greedy on that. They don't want that. And the rest of those defensive players, too. I mean, they've played hard. And, unfortunately, we got to stop in the game right here because Minnesota's got an injured football player.
We mentioned they only have 7 available players on the offensive line, and that's a valuable piece. Their center, Connor Olson, who Kirk Shiraka said has been the glue to that entire offensive line, and it appears to be something with his left ankle.
Yeah, Connor Olson's in there as the center, and he's only in there because Jared Wheeler was hurt 2 weeks ago, season-ending injury, and they're just running out of bodies.
He's bounced between guard and center, back and forth, and he's a redshirt freshman.
Well, you can see right here, and normally what happens, those guys, you see it right there, they get rolled up on. They get those legs stuck in there. They're blocking. Remember, they're blocking a guy that's probably 300 pounds, so you can't move him, and someone falls on the back of their legs, and it, you got to just be a tough sucker to play offensive line. I'm telling you, if you've ever coached football for a long time, you've had the ability to coach offensive line, you'll say they're the best guys absolutely to coach. They work hard. They don't say anything. They don't get in trouble. They get good grades, and they're so unselfish. Everybody wants to cheer the running back when he runs into the end zone, and maybe no one even touched him. How about those guys up front that have been blocking their tail off like Olson that provided the way for him to go?
And now this is tough to see as Olson cannot put any weight on that left foot. So that means they are down to 6 offensive linemen. Bronson Dovich, you saw him a moment ago. He will be coming in at center. He was practicing his snaps, and there he is, ready to rock and roll. But now the only backup that they have is Quinn Osland, and he's a tackle. If a guard or center would go down now, they don't have anybody to replace them.
Well, you remember what Lee said. That PJ Fleck said, he's the next guy in. He has to play.
Fumbled snap, but luckily Croft gets it back, and then he goes right down to the ground. Now we go to Mike Hall again for a T-Mobile studio update.
Brandon, we got more movement in Wisconsin and Michigan. Just minutes after Alex Hornibrook threw another pick, he throws this laser of a pass to A.J. Taylor, a 24-yard touchdown score, and the Badgers take the lead late in the third quarter.
Things getting interesting there, Mike. We don't have that type of a game, unfortunately, going here right now. It is all Cats, one-sided. Northwestern put up 25 points in the second quarter after a scoreless first quarter.
Well, it's the third quarter in Camp Randall. You know what that means? We're getting ready for the jump around,
right,
baby.
They're going to jump around.
Yeah.
You know, when they do that there, it feels like the entire booth is going to collapse.
You're not kidding.
Continue, though, to thank some of our great crew, associate producers Jeff Sermon and Derek Jensen. On the cameras, Terry Lamy and John Pigeon, Rob Shaw, videotape Mark Hall. All doing a fantastic job. Our audio expert up here in the booth with us every week, John Quashny. He told me I was going to mess up his last name, but I want him to know that I did not, Sean Quashny. Demery Croft dropping to pass on 3rd and 16. And he'll just duck out of bounds. On graphics, Julie Wart. Computer stats and scorebug, Josh Odom. Our stage manager and spotter and our statistician, those guys in the booth, Bob Lanigan, Ethan Cooperson, always doing a fantastic job. 3 mobile unit engineers with us on the crew, Billy Reardon, Mark Easley, and Stuart Forbes. Senior VP of production, Mark Holsey. Senior coordinating producer, Alex Birchie. Coordinating producer, Sue Marriott. Our researcher, remote production, a guy we rely on a lot, Ryan Kelly. And the president of BTN, Mark Silverman. Thanks to all those people, and especially those that travel with us each week for the wonderful, wonderful job that they have done. Tremendous, tremendous crew. As the punt will be down at the 15-yard line. Big day for the Cats. Everything going their way as they're about to march towards an 8-3 record. Farm here to help life go right. And by Reese's. When most go for one, we say go for two. Reese's. Millennium Park here in the Windy City. Great view. You can see the skyline, the reflection off of the kidney bean there. 39-0. Northwestern's last shutout, by the way, was right here at Ryan Field 2 years ago against Minnesota.
I was here. 29-0, I think.
Yep, 39 zip right now as Northwestern has the football back. A lot of different guys are getting into the ground game now. Austin Anderson with that carry. And there you go. 66-0 the last two games, so it was 27-0.
Sorry about that.
Justin Jackson with a coat on over there on the sideline, though, after crossing 5,000 yards for his career and 1,000 on the season earlier in this game.
Northwestern's using the full amount of clock, which is smart.
Pat Fitzgerald said, guys, I'm cold and I can't add any more layers. Up the middle. Once again, it's Austin Anderson.
Well, you know what a coach does in this situation? He's on the sideline and they hypothetically will make up a situation, say, okay, we're up by 3 points and you know, there's only a couple minutes left. We have got to make a drive and not give the ball back to the opposing team, even though that's not the case. That's the mindset that you have to try to keep your players focused on the field.
And that's why he liked that run so much. Saw the reaction on the carry by Austin Anderson.
They'll still punt if they don't get it here, though.
Pat Fitzgerald, 42 years old, 5 years older than P.J. Fleck on the other sideline. High snap. Alviti handles it. And able to pick up the first down. Nice job by Matt Alviti, who might not get a chance to throw the ball in place of Clayton Thorson. Anderson lost his shoe as well on that play.
You talk about Pat Fitzgerald, 42 years old. He seems like he's been here for 20 years. You know, I mean, you talk about the career that he's going to have, 42 years old. He's just getting started.
Fitzgerald got the job at age 31 when Randy Walker tragically died of a heart attack. Now in his 12th season and well on his way to his 85th win.
Minnesota is confused on defense.
Yeah, they're shifting all around. See, Jonathan Celestine was looking over at the sideline. John Moten, first carry of the game for Moten. Spreading the wealth to the guys in the backfield. Moten with a first down carry. There's your playoff picture. Miami is tied right now with Virginia. You see Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Penn State outside looking in.
Yeah, you know, I haven't agreed with that all year long where Clemson is. And, you know, I think they've been given a pass on their loss to Syracuse. And I know their quarterback was hurt, but, you know, who knows that maybe Syracuse was missing 3 or 4 defensive players. You don't know that. And I'd have Wisconsin in there right now.
Wisconsin can certainly help their cause if they can beat Michigan. Clayton Thorson, his day's been over for a while, and all smiles over there on the sideline for the junior from Wheaton, Illinois. One touchdown pass away from the record. It's 43 career touchdown passes after 3 today. There he sits. Right on the doorstep.
You think they should put him back in on senior day here? I don't. What are you lobbying for?
I think it's going to be Matt Alviti from here on out. The ground game's been pretty darn good too. 263 yards on the ground before that carry right there for Northwestern in this game. Later today, more football coming up. Purdue taking on Iowa right here on BTN. Michigan State hosting Maryland. Nebraska, they're in Happy Valley to take on Penn State. All still to come today on BTN, Fox, and FS1.
Well, you don't know what Fitzgerald is telling Mick McCall right now, as he's saying, keep the ball on the ground. It's 3rd and long, and he says keep it on the ground. Maybe they'll come back with that jet sweep. How about the jet sweep? That worked off the wall before.
Yeah, they got good gain out of Jelani Roberts on that.
If they throw the ball, I'd come with the super back on the crosser again.
They will hand it off, and it's going to be Jesse Brown. They're making Bob Lanigan, our spotter, work on the last game that we're working together this season. He's having to identify all these new backs coming in the game.
And there's no one better in the business than him. You know what?
They call him Caditos.
That's right, and for good reason.
PJ Fleck mentioned he's 37, coming up on November 29th. He will turn 37. Second youngest Power 5 head coach behind Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma.
I remember when I was 37. I was in Kansas.
That's Gary Moore that's down, but he's popping up. You're not in Kansas anymore, Coach. Nope. I can tell you that.
I'm not.
And Moore lost his shoe. We saw a shoe lost on the other side for Austin Anderson. But Pat Fitzgerald will be taking Northwestern to their 8th bowl game in 12 seasons. Really, really something. And you know what? His staff has been intact since 2011. All 9 assistants. Yeah. You just don't see that anymore.
No, and he's got veteran assistants. And that tells you a lot of things. That Northwestern must be an awful good place to coach. If I only had a negative, it's their facilities. They're terrible, but they're getting ready to go into unbelievable facilities.
Please
to really be a game changer for this program.
4 minutes, 11 seconds. The play clock to 40.
Yeah, the facilities that are just a 5-minute drive from here, right on the shores of Lake Michigan, are going to be absolutely spectacular. And they had training camp over there before the season started. And really, really going to help this program.
It's really got to up their recruiting, and they've done an unbelievable job in recruiting anyway. But you think about when those players come from not only Chicagoland area, but because they recruit around the country, see those facilities, it's mind-boggling.
Saw Corey Acker. He had the touchdown earlier. Now he's in on punt protect. As the clock continues to wind, wind-aided boot yet again, and it'll be Chenault. Why did he take the fair catch there? Might not have known where he was. 53-yard boot, 39-0 Cavs.
Minutes in just a second, but want to remind you, stay where you are when this game is done. We got plenty coming your way on BTN. You got Purdue and Iowa in football up next. When that game is done, the State Farm post-game show will recap all the games that happened today in the Big Ten, and then the final drive comes your way after that, presented by Auto Owners Insurance. We got highlights, reaction, and a ton more coming your way the rest of the day here on BTN. For now, back out to site.
If you didn't know, Justin Jackson is pretty good, and he has moved up in each of these categories today, the biggest one being over 5,000 yards in his career.
It's unbelievable. You know, when I look at those all-purpose yards, that's just as important as those rushing yards, what he's been able to accomplish there in all aspects of the game.
31 carries today for that man in the jacket, 166 yards. The only strange thing, I guess, is he doesn't have any touchdowns. 38 rushing touchdowns on his career at the top of the Northwestern list, but nothing today.
You know, and I mentioned it before, but I have to say it again. You know, any player, you don't accumulate those type of yards and those statistics unless you're really durable. And the thing about, I don't care how talented, how good you are, if you get injured or on the sideline, you can't help your team. You can't get those yards. That guy is one tough guy, durable football player.
Last game at Ryan Field, but still 2 games left for him in his career. Loss of 2 on the first down play. Minnesota just trying to get out from the shadow of their own end zone here.
Brandon, you talked about another bowl game for Pat Fitzgerald and Wildcats. Here's win number 8. If they're successful win against Illinois next week, that's win number 9. Not only a bowl game, a really good bowl game. Well, I'm not sure, but they're going to end up someplace really good.
Absolutely. You know, some things would have to shuffle, but not out of the cards yet as a New Year's Six bowl for Northwestern complete, depending on how things would fall. You mentioned the durability of Jackson. 4 straight years for him of 240 or more carries. That is durability, that's for sure. Kobe McCreary on the ground for Minnesota. That'll bring up 4th. And bold appearances for Northwestern. 7. This will be 8 this year, but just 6 prior to the Pat Fitzgerald era.
Yeah, you know, the thing about it, and let's go back to our meeting the other day, and he talked about this football team in this game, and he talked about some of the guys he was losing, but he said, whoa, I got a young football team. We are going to be good. I mean, it wasn't like this is our shot to really be good. I got the feeling he's saying, if you think we're good now, wait till next year.
Because I was asking him about senior day, I thought he was going to talk about all those guys, and he did with glowing remarks as you see another punt low into the teeth of the wind. But you're right, he wanted to talk about the future as well. Well, Minnesota will at least have good field position if they want to try to bust through that goose egg with 1:20 remaining. Northwestern, as you said, will be at Illinois. Thorson and Jackson together on the sideline.
And I would have to say that the Badger fans will be invading the Twin Cities. Right after they get done with the turkey, man, they're in the car and they're headed west. And especially if Wisconsin holds on and beats Michigan today for a chance for an undefeated season, they'll be there in full force.
So Minnesota unable to, as I said, break that goose egg, and now they give Northwestern once again good starting field position, but Pat Fitzgerald's not going to try to score. PJ Fleck's just going to look on and have to accept a tough defeat. And that's tough for Minnesota. They looked so good last week against Nebraska.
Yeah, you know, again, I've been asked about that all week. When you look at the drubbing that they gave Nebraska, you know, do you get that good in 1 week? No. You know, so it was a combination of Minnesota playing well and Nebraska playing very poorly, and that's why it was so one-sided.
So they put up 54 points 1 week, the most since 2006 in a Big Ten game for Minnesota, and now none here. Pat Fitzgerald, this Northwestern defense, allowing only 2 completions. They get 5 takeaways. They have 6 sacks. Everything going right for that man.
Yeah, now he's going to say take a knee. Every head coach's favorite play is take a knee.
Aiden Smith is in the game, the 3rd string quarterback, and he will be the one to take a knee. Well, they won't even have to. Yeah, the clock's just going to wind down to zeros. And a shutout for Northwestern. Dominant over Minnesota, 39-0. Their first shutout for the Wildcats since they played Minnesota here in Evanston 2 years ago and beat them 27-0.
Mike Hankwitz, he's got his lucky hat on.
And Justin Jackson, that man right there, went over 5,000 career yards. Clayton Thorson, right in your screen, throwing for 3 touchdown passes in this game. Northwestern was really fantastic. The big quarter was quarter number 2 when they outscored them 25-0. And Elise is ready with Coach Pat Fitzgerald.
This marks 6 straight wins for you guys. You pitched a shutout, forced 5 turnovers. You got everyone involved on offense. 5 different people scored. What were you most impressed with in this win?
Just embracing what we talked about yesterday. We knew it was going to be nasty. There was no doubt, if you looked at our boundary from the minute we came out on the field today, there was an attitude amongst our squad, and I thought they imposed their will.
A couple of milestones for Justin Jackson today. He reaches over 5,000 yards and 1,000 for a 4th straight year. What does he mean to this program? I know we talked about him before the game, but
yeah, you know, I'm not sure Big Ten fans truly understand the career this young man has had. I mean, it's going to live up in the history books as one of the best ever careers, not only here at Northwestern, but in Big Ten history. So ecstatic for our seniors on a day like today when the weather was going to be a factor, to see the way they led us this week and then through today. I mean, that's what it's all about, them enjoying with our students.
And senior day nonetheless for Jackson.
Yeah, just the whole group, just so happy for them. We were able to get, I think, almost all of them in. It was awesome to see. Really happy for him. But PJ's going to do a great job. He's a heck of a coach, and big win for us. Now we got a lot to be thankful for here in Thanksgiving week, and we're very thankful for our young men and their families, and hopefully we'll play our best game next week against our rival.
Thanks, Coach. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, go Cats. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Elise.
And now we'll wait for Justin as he works with Coach. Hey, Justin, I think you're aware, but you reached a couple of milestones today in your career. Now over 5,000 rushing yards and 1,000 for the 4th time. When I say those numbers to you, what goes through your mind? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot, you know, just trying to be there for my team, be reliable, be consistent, and just work hard. I'm glad we were able to come out here and get a victory like this. You know, I think, you know, we really wanted this one, and obviously it shows. So just happy to be out here with my guys.
I know before the game we talked about what you're going to miss most about this team, or, you know, the things we don't see and the numbers that, you know, you don't even talk about. But what does it mean just to have this day on senior day and to know it's your last time at Ryan Field?
I mean, look, the day out here, like, it's freezing rain, but, you know, we came out here, we had a good time. You know, we got some guys, you know, like a Corey Acker who's been working his tail off for 5 years, gets one carry, gets a 25-yard touchdown, man. That's the type of stuff that really means a lot, you know, having everybody out here having a good time and just seeing that passion and that level that we have for each other.
A big team win for you guys today. A lot of people got involved, like you were saying.
Yeah.
What does it mean now that you have 6 straight wins? You guys just keep rolling. What's it going to take to stop you?
I mean, hopefully nothing, you know. You know, like I said, we just put a lot of work in every single week in practice. That's what's improved. That's why we've improved on Saturday. So, you know, it's going to keep that up for this week.
Best run back in the Big Ten.
This guy, hey.
Who's talking about you?
You know.
One carry, 25 yards. He said give him the ball. Must be better than me. I don't know.
You got the job done. What was it like there for you for senior day, your first career touchdown?
You know, 5 years in the making. I mean, we all go out there and we practice hard. We're all ready for the opportunity when it comes. So it's just good to share it with my buddies, my friends.
How has this guy helped you and kind of shown you the way?
I like to think I showed him the way. I'm a year older than him, so he got it from me.
What's it like on this team now, 6 straight wins? You clearly are having fun and just enjoying it out here, even in this weather.
Yeah, I mean, can't really control the weather, but you can control how much fun you have. It helps when you win, but if you take every day, every opportunity to the best you can, I mean, it's hard not to have fun playing this sport.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Go enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Corey Acker, the wedding crasher there, coming in on the interview of Justin Jackson. Real quick, though, Coach, it's been a blast. Thanks for a great year.
It's been a lot of fun, and nothing better than college football, and nothing better than working with you, buddy.
Yeah, it was fun. He's Glenn Basin. I'm Brandon Gaughan. Thanks to Elise Spinnaker and Dick Honig for his great work all year. Northwestern wins it 39-0. They've won 6 straight. That'll do it from Evanston. And now we send you to Mike, Howard, and Chuck. They're in our Chicago studio, and they're ready for a Big Ten game break. Good afternoon from Northwestern.